Steve Van Allen is with us, comedian and broadcaster. Afternoon to you, Steve.
Good afternoon. Look at me showing up for work.
I was about to say, I mean, this is great news. You're here. I mean, you're not a man to skive off. You're not a man to throw a sickie. Clearly, lots of us cynically listen to this and think, you know, what the heck is going on? You know, are these people swinging the lead? There's around about 8 million, 4 million definitely not working due to ill health. It's a reasonable question to ask, what is wrong with people?
It is. I can do that thing where I get all mathsy and reasonable and don't do an answer that makes people angry, which is not what people want. But here it is. That 8 million includes both types of people, isn't it? There'll be a subset of that set, which are people who are genuinely too ill to work. And then also within that same massive number, people who are getting away with it. People who are thinking, no, I don't actually fancy working. I'd much rather do this. And the way I get the benefits is to claim that I'm too ill to work. And that's the problem, because you can't solve one whilst helping the other. You can't say, do you know what? I'll tell you what will get you back to work. No benefits for you. If you don't work, you don't eat. Well, that's going to mean someone who can't work slowly perishes. Meanwhile, if you have a system that, you know, what's the definition of a society is how it looks after its vulnerable.
Yep.
Well, sadly, within that catchment are some people going, oh, if I say I'm vulnerable, I'll get some of that help as well. So the problem really is, how do you unpick those two subsets of the big set? If I knew I'd be a richer man, I wouldn't have to work again.
Yeah, I mean, there is... I know there's a sort of growing mental health thing, and nobody's going to, you know, undermine that. If somebody is genuinely ill, physically, mentally, you know, we'd all obviously support helping that person. But the numbers are so huge, Steve. The numbers are so big that I think you have to ask deeper questions on this. And I was reminded, we took a call about what's often called the sick note culture. We took a call about a year ago from a landlord who was fuming on this. Have a listen to what she said.
Why would they want to work then? The rents are paid. Everything. I'm a landlord. I got scroungers on my books. Wouldn't work. They wouldn't work. They don't even want cash in their hand. I've just come off the high street at the seaside of Skegness. You do a survey on the people on that street today and ask how many of them work. None of them work. They're either carrying a walking stick or on a mobility scooter, and they've got blue badges and free cars. Me and you are paying. All you taxpayers out there, listen carefully. You need to grass your neighbours up that are driving free cars, and there's nothing wrong with them. Nothing wrong with them.
Nothing wrong with them, Steve. Nothing wrong with them. I said she. That was a he, by the way. I mean, who knows? Who cares? Yeah. But there you go. So there is there's a big problem here, because, you know, if you're an employer and you're running like a pub or hospitality in particular, I mean, even on a good day, those guys will tell you trying to do a rota for bar staff, you know, is beyond the Rubik's Cube. I mean, it's something to behold.
Yeah. It's not just the size of the number, it's the increase. Because surely there can't be that many people getting iller. I know we're a bit fatter than we were 2 years ago. Yeah, there's not enough out there, is there? With people, you know, we're all aware of not being too fat. We're all smoking less. There are many things that should be making us healthier. So if suddenly we're seeing people more people get ill, that's where the question is. It almost doesn't matter what the number is. The rate of increase is the one that shows you something's a bit dodgy. Also, you should check in on that caller, because I have a feeling someone might be no longer working due to high blood pressure.
Yes, I think so. Yes, that's right. Currently sucking his thumb somewhere in a dark room in a corner. Let's move to this story. Keir Starmer paying back 6,000 quid's worth of gifts. Of course, he's taken decisive action to try to restore his reputation by putting this money back to where it came from for a series of high-profile gifts since he became Prime Minister. Let's have a listen to what he said.
Look, we came in as a government of change. We are now going to bring forward principles for donations, because until now, politicians have used their best individual judgment on a case-by-case basis. I think we need some principles of general application. So I took the decision that until the principles are in place, it was right for me to make those repayments.
Until the principles are in place, what are do they need to be written down, Steve?
Well, I guess they do. I mean, I tell you what, it's not even about principles right now. It's about being bad at politics, because this should have been spotted. They could have paid me 50 quid and I would have emailed them back going, here's what I think is going to happen, right? If you're setting out your stall, you're the anti-sleaze guy, you're the no corruption guy. Yeah. I would have said, oh, don't take any freebies. It's going to come back to bite you. But you couldn't have played it worse. So you take some freebies, and then every so often you have to release some, you know, you ask your people, oh, should we be declaring this? Ugh, should have done it a month ago. Whoops. And then when you say, look, I've done nothing wrong, but I promise to never do it again. What? You've made it look like he did something wrong. And now you're saying, well, it was absolutely fine. It's all above board, but I will repay it. Really? Okay. That feels like they're stretching out the story. You could have got this over and done with on day 2. And then making it look like every step they do makes it look like the first position they were in was the wrong position. Yeah. How did they not see it coming?
And is there anybody in the cabinet who didn't see Taylor Swift? I mean, I think that's a reasonable question. It's like they all went to, what the hell? Was it a job lot? Was it a coach they got? A bit of a Beano to Wembley or Manchester, wherever they saw her? Everybody got the Taylor Swift tickets. And even by the incredible system of Ticketmaster, they were paying top dollar. I mean, I know what Ticketmaster can squeeze out of people because we've all been in the Oasis queue or the Coldplay queue. But they're paying like $6,000 for 2 tickets.
But that's because of surge pricing. And at the moment when they were purchasing their tickets, there were all of the MPs from Labour Party trying to buy them at the same time, I imagine, and thinking, it's all right, we'll get Ali to pay for this. Yeah. So, yeah, they're hoisted by their own petard. Questions need to be asked about what kind of influence does Taylor Swift have on the Labour Party? Because if she's asking some questions in those songs, it's not all about shaking it off, is it? There might be some other questions about, does she have a song that mentions cutting the winter fuel payments? Yeah. Because if so, I think she's in control of that party. Yeah, and I also would love to hear, at least, I'm waiting for Angela Rayner to say that it was about the surge payment thing. That's why they were so expensive here. I genuinely wouldn't be surprised with what's happening here. But you're right to identify, Steve, that this happens all the time. It's happened forever. An MP gets a gig ticket, football ticket, whatever. But when your specific USP was to come in on the very antitheses of all of that. We don't do the cronyism thing. We don't know rich people. We don't even know what a millionaire really is. We've never met one. We're the very opposite to what went before. That's the problem they have. Yeah, I mean, look, I get the Labour Party says that costs should be borne by those with broad shoulders, and they know someone who's got some really broad shoulders, and he's paid for everything. So they did that one, right? Yeah. But it's not. You got to pick a side, haven't you? If you know that you're going to be trying to be the anti-corruption guy, my advice would be don't take any freebies, or do it the other way around. If you know you've got a wardrobe full of like 16 grand's worth of suits, and someone buys some wallpaper, I'd probably not mention it. Because how do they not know that it's going to come and bite you in the bottom? You can spot it a mile off. You can indeed.